can't handle the heat. Booyakasha. It's Micah, not Gage. I tried my best Gage impression. But we're back. We have a guest. Chad with a J. Jad.
Yes, sir.
From Ottawa, Toronto. YouTuber, man of social media. Like one of the OGs in the YouTube kind of push. I know that it's a common thing that's going on around right now. But he's not your common YouTuber. He's not your like hop on the bandwagon. He is the maker of the bandwagon. Jad has about like 1.8 million subscribers on YouTube, I believe. Am I accurate with that?
Yeah.
Which is
something
insane,
like that,
dude. Congratulations on that.
Thank you,
I know
man.
that takes that takes some time, energy, commitment. I don't even know. That takes a lot of different things to try and get to a number like that. That's a huge number. So props to you for that. And now, Jad, which we're going to talk about on the show, would you say CEO or like
just like kind of part owner. Yeah, partner.
Okay. So he's a partner and part owner of a new product called Board Ball. We're going to get into this a little bit, but first off, Jad, thank you for coming.
Yo, dude, are you sure you don't do the intros, man? That was pretty good. My guy's got a little intro skills there.
No, I'm sure. Our other guy is notoriously bad, which is kind of why we keep him on it.
The charm. Like, yeah.
He doesn't get anything right. He'll pronounce everything wrong, and it's like it's just the way we go about it. So we try and keep it like we're trying to keep to the what is it? Our MO.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
it's our image.
That's our MO. It's our image.
It.
We do terrible intros, but hopefully I did an all right job.
No, for sure, man. Thank you guys so much. Love what you guys are doing. I don't know. I asked them to be on this podcast. That's how you know I want to be a part of this thing. So like,
he actually
really
did.
Jad, you guys having me on.
I met Jad through Kofi, who I played with at UCLA, and you met Kofi through a mutual friend, I believe.
Yeah, I met Kofi through a volleyball camp actually that we went to. It's kind of like big in Canada. It's called Madawaska, and it's kind of like the big talent through Canada kind of goes through that camp. Like Melissa Humania Paredes, who's on the national team. A couple other like notable names on the national team right now for Canada. Like have all kind of floated through that camp, so it's like great for networking, meeting people, and I've gone really close with Dane and Kofi through that. So
right. Yeah, and then you came out to LA. I know you came over to our spot in LA a little bit.
Yeah, the UCLA house. That was a way bigger house than I thought like any house could be. Like it's like 50 rooms. Like I was like, how many people live in this thing? Like people playing Fortnite in one room, it was really cool. So yeah, Kofi, I wanted to come back. I was going through LA a lot for like the whole YouTube thing.
Right.
And so Kofi's like, come check out our volleyball house. And yeah, man, it was cool. You guys had a nice like little team bond going on over there.
Yeah, we found a gem. I don't know. I think the Parks brothers found that for us, but we were not where we were supposed to be. Like we had no business being in that neighborhood.
I saw your like 80-year-old neighbor, like maybe,
it was quick, but it was quick math, man. Like they just convinced us like, hey, seven. I think the rent was like 7,000 or 8,000, but they're like, we divide that by 11 people, and all of a sudden we're in a house like that is next level for like a reasonable rate.
Mm-hmm.
And so
for LA,
I don't know
right?
why. So. Yeah, for LA, especially Westwood, because they just charge these students a lot. But anyways, that's a riff. We're gonna hop on right now. You're doing board ball, right?
Yeah. So right now I have a few things on the go. Of course, I'm still doing my YouTube channel, and then like I've been able to come across other opportunities with like different types of channels that aren't necessarily my face. So kind of working on those behind the scenes, and then going really hard with board ball, like kind of like almost full time in the swing of things. It's great, like the community that's been built off it in its own way. It's kind of breeded its own life. So like it's been really exciting to work on board ball with like creating content, TikTok, going out different meetups, we're touring. It's been really cool.
You guys are gonna tour.
Yeah, so we have like, we're kind of similar to your vibe. We have people in different places, all across the world. Right. So, and people have been like, coming on board to like kind of be ambassadors, reps. So we just had a tournament in Arizona. And so we had like
is that your first board ball tournament?
We had one in Toronto last year, like kind of pre-launched to, get people playing. But like, first official in the States where, States is kind of the main playground for all sorts of business. So yeah, Arizona, and we're doing San Diego. We're doing Florida in May. So It's been great.
Sick. Okay, well,
Yeah.
we're gonna put like for all those people listening, we're gonna put the board ball stuff in the bio or however we do it. It'll be connected, and you guys can go check that out. But briefly, before we talk about it in depth, I think we should explain exactly what it is so people can have an idea of the sport or the game that we're even talking about. So, what's the best way that you would describe it?
Yeah, so essentially board ball is a way to play volleyball on the go. We noticed in like, growing up, I played volleyball and I found myself playing more basketball, more soccer because like you can't really just play volleyball for fun out on the streets, in the parks, on the sides. It's like, how
Right.
can you really play
Access.
volleyball?
There's just a lack of
Access.
like accessibility.
Exactly. Other than, renting a court at a beach or buying a full net that you have to really set up, takes a
Right.
while. Where we figured, let's play volleyball on the go. Let's get volleyball like more accessible to play in a new format, a new game. So we essentially built and designed this board. It's a square board and it has these kind of angles on the side of the board because if it was just a square, it would kind of just tap off and just kind of like, if you hit it on the side of the board, it would just kind of flutter. But we were able to introduce a way where if you hit it off the side of the board, it's kind of like a reset in volleyball. It's kind of like a block touch where you reset your own touches, kind of like you messed up, so you get to reset. So yeah, essentially in a very short, basic way, without getting into like the rules, it's a mobile way to play volleyball with a very easy setup to get people playing more.
So to go off of that, one, the first thing that pops into my head is like, you know how they have those ping pong tables in parks that are
Yeah.
actually like not a net, but they're like rainproof. They're like stone and like maybe even stone nets. I don't exactly remember how they set it up, but I just had the idea of like, because you're talking about accessibility, if you guys were able to make it something where it's stationary in a park, where
Yeah,
like, because
yeah.
like you said, like you go to a park and like the rims are there. You don't have to set up a basketball court. You have to set up a volleyball net, and it takes forever. And then you have to bring it, and like the
Hmm.
accessibility is just not there, and that's why you get so not. You just get so much less people playing it and running upon it because it's not
Exactly.
there. So to set up like a board ball, like drill it in so no one can steal it would
Yeah.
be a sick way to kind of like get the sport going because people guarantee would come across it and be like, what is this? And then like just try and make their own game off of it probably. And then they'd probably run into you guys and see how it's played correctly. But that's just an interesting, that would be a
Yo, I
very
like
interesting
this. We need
take
to
on
get you
that.
on some consulting ideas, my man. Like that's
No, no,
if we get
no.
in contact with some parks and stuff, like that'd be sick to
Yeah,
just
that would be, and like parks, what are they
24/7
going to
play.
say?
Like,
Like, no, you can't put something that kids are going to play. Like, it's a park. This is what it's meant for, is people to be able to have
yeah,
fun and exercise. Like, why are you going to say no to us? We're not going to,
exactly.
like, we're not charging you anything. We just want to put our little thing here and let people play.
And yeah, that's a good point on like how rims are already set up, soccer nets are already set up like everywhere. So,
Yeah.
it's really, really rare you'll see a volleyball net permanently set up
Super.
somewhere to play.
And when there is one, I feel like there's some people, like,
A
messing
lot of
around
people
on it.
play. Yeah. A
Like,
lot
there's
of
at
people
least
play.
messing around on it and, like, oh, okay, what is this? Like, and trying some stuff, maybe even with a basketball or whatever. But at least they're touching it in a way that, like, no one else would. If you don't have the court there, you're getting involved in volleyball. And we get a lot of our players from basketball that just like stumble upon volleyball and then love it and then quit
Exactly.
basketball and we're like, wow, like if people just tried this, we'd be in a good spot, but no one
Yeah.
will try it.
Exactly. So it's good for the whole of volleyball together. Like, we have it branded as board ball. It is its own thing. It is its own kind of like
For sure.
board itself, but it is ultimately in the realm of volleyball, like a sister kind of thing to volleyball. So
So I had a question. Sorry, that was just that wasn't a question. That was like more of a comment. But so I feel like we've seen a lot of playoffs of volleyball. Like we have
yeah.
spike ball. We actually
Yep.
had the CEO
CrossNet.
of CrossNet on here. I
Yeah.
don't know if you've heard of CrossNet, but they've been blown
CrossNet
up
for
too.
sure. Yeah, CrossNet's sweet. And I know like
Yeah,
Sam Pedlow's involved in that and
yeah, I think he
he's
is.
been in
Yeah.
the Madawaska reign too, so we know him pretty
Okay,
well. And
dope.
yeah,
Yeah. So we had that guy on, and I feel like it's like volleyball has a certain attractiveness of like creating games off of it that other sports kind of don't. What
yeah.
drew you guys to that, and like, what are you gonna try and do to separate yourself from a spike ball or a cross net? Like, Because I feel like that's a space that's starting to get more and more saturated.
Yeah, for sure. Like that's a great question. There's so many different ways to play, right? Cross net, it's kind of like that one-on-one angle.
Right.
Spike ball is kind of that like it's a smaller ball. It is fundamentally much different from volleyball in a sense that you're playing mostly one-handed. And
Right.
what and cross net is also mainly one-on-one. It's not necessarily, it's more like a casual in a way, you drink with your friends, you hang out. Whereas we really wanted to stick to the fundamentals of volleyball. It's 2-on-2 in board ball. It's much like beach rules where you have your partner. We have that competitive style of play where you know you can turn it up in the skill level quite a bit. There's a
Okay.
lot of really good volleyball players that have been playing board ball and being like, damn, this is like an insane workout. I'm getting so many quick touches. And so that's kind of what we're sticking to in the bread and butter is staying in the fundamentals of volleyball where the rules
Okay.
are the same. We really want it. We really want people who play indoor and beach that, you can use board ball as a way to get touches in the off season too, because when you're spiking it off that board and it's coming at you quick, it is essentially like you're digging a ball in a way. It's not coming down, it's not coming at the speed necessarily, but you are really mobile and you are really moving. So
Right. Right.
that
Right.
is the fundamental a way that we can kind of be different from these crew is like we have that competitive side, we have that casual side, and it's volleyball, volleyball, volleyball.
Right. Right. So the proximity of it to the techniques of volleyball is just a lot closer than a cross net and a spike ball.
Exactly. Yeah,
And it's
like a
played
spike
with a
ball.
volleyball.
It is
Is that
played with
correct?
a volleyball. Exactly.
Okay, and I saw that video. So you sent me that video, and that rally was sick. Is it within the confines of half of the volleyball court, or is
Yeah,
that not
that's kind
always the
of
case?
so we have the official rules. So when we get to that competitive play, like when we host these tournaments, there is a court that is
Okay.
approximately the size of one half of a volleyball net, because
Okay.
otherwise you would be just cranking the ball all
Yeah,
day
yeah.
long. So we do want to be ins and outs where there's kind of skill to place it on that line, like in volleyball.
Right.
You want to
Right.
serve
Right.
the
Right.
line, you want to hit the lines. So we do have that, but at the same time, it is great because people have been, playing with their own rules. Some people they like to play with that deep ball, like
Right.
anything goes. Just
Yeah.
dig
Yeah.
that ball up, like when you're a kid and you keep the balloon up, like a balloon
For
that you
sure.
inflate, like there it's just kind of like a frenzy in that way. So
Right.
we do like when people, play how they want to play, but if you
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
to a competitive, you know, that level at the elite level, there is the lines that we provide when you do purchase a board. You have an option to include the lines in as well on our website.
Okay. 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 Because that stood out to me and Joe immediately. We were like, oh, I really like that. There's actually a boundary because in spike ball, like at least when I've played, man, if I hit that thing hard enough and we're like with people that aren't spike ballers, like it's gonna take you a lot of skill to get that thing in two touches back to a place you can hit it on the net. And then if you do, we're just gonna do it. Like it's not as strategic as much as it is physical. And
Yeah,
once I saw that line, I was like, oh, this is actually like can have some serious rallies and some like gamesmanship to it that spike ball doesn't. I thought.
exactly. Yeah. And like just going off that, we found that, some people with volleyball, it's a height driven sport at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
You do have to be, some sort of height, unless you're, of course, you got your liberos that are playing their thing, but liberos love board ball because they have a
Oh, I'm
chance to finally
sure.
swing and like, people of all shapes and sizes, especially like with volleyball, to serve a ball over the net requires a level of strength that, not everybody has who's developed or has done sort of strength training, but with board ball, we have, any shape, any size
Right, right.
can
It's a lot
play
more
this thing.
inclusive.
It's a lot more inclusive in that regard. And like, we have people who like they're scared to play volleyball because when it's their turn to serve and they're there and they know they're gonna miss the serve and they're scared. Like it's really like inclusive in that way where people aren't afraid to serve and go for it.
So, Joe, you can chime in anytime you have questions. I feel like I'm asking a lot of questions, but I'm genuinely curious. So you had mentioned that some people are doing it with the line, some people are doing it without. Are there
Yeah.
me and Joe and Gage, who's not on the call, love the fact that volleyball is such a versatile sport. You can play at beach, you can play at grass, you can play at 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, 6s on the beach.
Yeah.
Like dirt ball in some of these other countries, like crazy ways. What are some like spin-offs that you can see coming from board ball? Because I feel like board ball can be very versatile as well, like you said, with the lines, or like there can be 4 touches or 2 touches, or
Yeah.
like people can really create their own stuff off of this if you really give them the reins. Is
Yeah.
there any that you see coming and any that you're interested in?
Yeah. So like, it's funny you say that because we get, like you said, videos of, people playing how they want to play it, right?
Right.
And so we designed it as a game of 2s, but we have gotten clips of people running 3s, 4s, and they're doing like serve to set to like shoots, like design plays
Right.
on
You
the
got
board
multiple
ball.
people going different ways, and you can
Exactly. And
set
it's like
either
a
one.
360 sport, so they're coming from in front, like it's insane. And like, with defenders 360 as well. You're
For
scooting
sure.
by opponents, and like, you're dodging interferences. And I think that would be really cool if there was, 4s, 5s, like especially like you mentioned in volleyball, like in the Asian leagues where they do 9-on-9, 9-man.
Yeah, 9-man.
Like that's crazy watching 9-man,
That'd be
when they're hitting off the net and they're like 6 blockers,
board
like
ball would be gnarly.
9-man board ball would be insane.
But
So yeah, just like
the strategy to see, like, because it isn't like you said it, which is a cool point. It's a 360 sport. It's almost like, I think cricket is like a 360 sport in a weird way. But like if you see 2 people splitting and they can both get set, then your 2 defenders have to then like decide which angles they're taking and for where they're going to be placed. And then another question, can you block or no?
So you can block in board ball. You can block. You just can't. You can't hover like over the board. There has to be, your block has to be outside the top of the rectangle. Kind of like when you're going over on 2 in volleyball, you can't necessarily reach over. It has to be on that 3rd hit that you can reach over in volleyball for a block.
Okay.
So it's kind of like that. So you can't be completely hovered over. You have to be on the side. But we have seen some blocks where they're stuffed blocks. It's crazy to see. It's
so
a big
sick.
level of skill.
Right.
And like that's the thing that we haven't gotten. Like, in volleyball, there is that ceiling right now where this is how good people can get, really.
Right.
The exciting thing about board ball is almost every week I'm seeing a different play. I'm seeing people jump off their, like, if they're running 2s, like they're in the air spiking on the side. They're doing all these crazy kind of aerial movements. And what you're saying, that you brought up that point where if you're running sets if you're doing 4-on-4 or something, and you have a set play with 2 guys approaching, it's like, where do defenders stand at that point?
Right.
So that's what's been really cool, is envisioning these like insane new creative kind of ceiling.
It's like it's literally evolving and like you can't even, as creators, imagine really. You put out the product, but you can't imagine the stuff that comes from it. Like, which I think is so cool. Like, you put it out and you just have this vision of like, okay, this is how I think we're gonna play. And then someone sends you a clip of a block and you're like, we literally created this product without even thinking of this.
Exactly.
Like and then boom, people are double blocking, triple blocking, and you're like, oh, there's no angles to, like, now you're gonna try to go block out.
Yeah.
Like, which is just like the possibilities, I'm sure, are gonna become ridiculous. And
Mike and I last year were just as Mike was saying, we just love creating different types of volleyball. We were playing games where you have to like hit it outside in the holes of a volleyball. We love like creating spin-offs. And if somebody
like in between the net and the pole.
That was the only way you could get the ball over, and we were just like, yeah, we get really creative because we don't like traditional volleyball.
I think coaches also, like, just with our team, and that's why Mike is asking the rules, because whenever we're given like a set of rules, the first thing's always like, all right, how do we like figure out ways around?
Oh,
those
100%.
Yeah, bending the rules, rule benders.
100%.
That's kind of always our way of thinking. So, but yeah, it's super cool. It's a sweet game, and just having the presence on the beaches and stuff, I think, is the right way to go for you guys. So totally makes sense, and it sounds super fun. I've never personally played. Mike, have you played at all in person?
Board ball?
Yeah.
No. The first time I'd heard of it was when Jad hit me up.
Yeah, I got to get you guys aboard, man. I got to get you guys playing some board. I think you guys would seriously love it. Like it's
Oh,
so
no.
I think we've
It
come up with
sounds-
some new styles of play too, which could be pretty interesting.
That's always our thing of our brand is like when we go play tournament, we play like everybody always says like we play like a different style always in regular volleyball stuff too. So that's like our kind of approach to games always is we always try to figure out other ways. We never like to be.
Yeah.
So that's super cool. That's so sick. The for you guys, what do you like in your 5-year plan? What's like your guys's goals here in the next couple of years? If you,
Yeah, for sure. So right now we have we're relatively, we don't have these like millions of dollars of backing. We don't have this monstrous corporation. We have a solid team, and we've sold through all of our boards through our first production. And so we have
Congrats.
production round number 2.
That's
Thank
sick.
you so much.
That's really
We
sick.
have, we have production round number 2 on the way. And, we've gotten a lot of feedback from people, and we've gotten a lot of different kind of routes that we want to take. So right now our board is slightly, it's really durable. We wanted to make a product that was insanely durable. It didn't break if you spiked it off of it. And, we wanted to just ensure that there was no problems with the manufacturing. But at the same time, we want to get it in as many hands as possible. Like that's like the main thing. So right now we have our next production of boards, and we're going to sell through those. And as soon as those are sold, we're going to be working on a lighter, newer product so that we can really drop the price point quite a bit, because right now it's an honest price, and it's such a great product that it justifies, like, you're not buying this again. Sometimes when you buy like a plastic thing, a little game on the side, a thing breaks, you pretty much have to buy a new one like right away. You're kind of bummed about it. So we're working on getting the price range down to just get it in as many hands as possible, so that if you're going to a cottage, or you're stopping by some sort of Home Depot or whatever it is, and you want to get some sort of camp style game that like people not only who love volleyball can play. Right now we're really targeting people who love volleyball, people who love sports, but we don't have that cottage going, just casual consumer. And so in the 5-year span, we really want it to be like globalized, and anybody who just wants to play a fun park game can afford and pick up a board ball.
okay.
What is that material that you guys are using now, and what is, I guess, the material you're gonna try and switch to?
Yeah, so the material we're switching to is going to be developed by, we work really closely with like a professional like engineering team.
Okay.
So the first run around was our CEO, like just kind of like worked with a Chinese manufacturer to just kind of make it work with, like, we have this like kind of like, you need to have like some sort of light kind of like fiberglass kind of equipment. And like the rubber, what we have on top is a super specific type of rubber, because if you were to just hit it off a board right now, it would be kind of clunky, and it wouldn't really like absorb and bounce cleanly.
Okay.
So the rubber we use, it has these like kind of ridges in it, so that when you're hitting a ball off it, it absorbs into the board. So it's not going to break the board.
Okay.
It kind of absorbs the impact, but it doesn't go off that and take away from the bounce. So that's what we're using right now. And the board right now, it weighs in the 20-pound range. So
wow, that's a heavy duty board.
it's a heavy duty board, exactly. But
even for shipping and stuff, I'm sure that gets
for shipping, exactly. So it's fine for now.
Right.
It's great. We're working with it, and everything flows well. But of course, we want to have kind of like a foldable. Kind of attach it. You have to make some attachments yourself, so that way you can just fit it into a backpack. Right now, there's a really great handle on it, and the assembly, there is no assembly. You get the board, you fold it open, you put up the legs, and you're playing. So like that's a really great thing, is that how easy it is set up, and we have zero complaints about that. And then to just put it away, you fold in the legs, you fold in the board, and then you're on your way again.
Okay.
So
maybe that's the tournament board.
Exactly. So that's what we're going to be shifting to in the future, is the board ball that we're going to be producing in the future is just going to be called board ball. And then these kind of heavier, dutier boards are going to be board ball pros.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So, for their elite competitive players, you do want that
Right,
heavy
right.
duty, because it's funny, like we put 500 pounds worth of dumbbells and like weights on the board, and it lifted it like
I
completely
was gonna
fine.
say because that thing's gonna take a beating.
Yeah,
Like you said, like that thing is really gonna take a beating. It's not something you want to build cheap because
yeah,
that thing with 3 hits from like a legitimate person, if you're gonna try and cheap it out, is like it's gonna go down, and then people are gonna be like, we can't buy this every time we're gonna play. But at the same
exactly.
time, it's like it's a middle point. They were like, but like we do want it accessible, and we want people to be able to carry it around and it not be 20 pounds. And so, I'm sure that's gonna
Exactly.
be a project for you guys. Luckily, I don't have to figure that out.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of like trial and error, but we have had zero boards break. We've had zero boards like
Wow.
malfunction in that regard of like, yo, we just spiked it way too much and it chipped or broke.
Right.
Zero of that. And at the same point, or at the same time, our price point is so like reasonable that like, instead of, like buying a basketball net is way more expensive. And like
100%. Yeah.
you get
Those things.
hundreds, if not thousands of hours of entertainment and accessibility and playing with this. It's just a one-time investment and you're playing forever. So like,
Right. People are
not
so
knowing you're
weird
not
with
going to have
how
to
they're
buy another one.
spending.
Yeah, sometimes.
Like I feel like people just have their things that are like, oh, boom, they buy something for $1,000, and I'm like, you're gonna buy that freaking, what is it, a shoe for $1,000, wear it twice, but you won't buy like something, a phone that you. People are just odd,
Yeah, with their
and like
like,
like you said, this thing is gonna be your whole life. You can have so many great memories and experiences and play for thousands of hours, and they're not willing to spend something that like is gonna be involved in their life that much, where they're gonna blow it on something else.
yeah.
It's pretty confusing,
So
but
yeah, that's their great. That's the great thing about the feedback that we've gotten is that people have just been said, yo, this is so worth it. Like, this is insane. Like, how has it not, like you said, you play and you've seen some big heavy hitters on professional volleyball spiking a ball.
for
Like,
sure.
so it's been working out really well so far.
I love
I
that.
feel like my brother would be one to test the strength of that. My brother, he gets he's one of the hardest hitters I've ever seen. Micah's up there too, but it would be pretty intense to see. But that's
Yo,
awesome.
we'll do that one day. We got to film some content. Like,
Totally,
biggest board ball spiker. Like, let's make this happen.
totally.
Yeah, we could. That's another angle we wanted to try and ask about. It's not in. It's not as much of a focus on the board ball, but we're in the content creation earlier stages. We're kind of jumping on your bandwagon. And in terms of like learning a little bit from you, what have you learned throughout your process of YouTube, and like, what do you think it leads to a successful YouTube channel, or like, what kind of advice would you have for people out there, not only volleyball players, but people out there that are trying to start their own kind of media thing going?
Yeah. So a lot of people who, when they're making content, they get really discouraged at times, and they also expect a lot of results relatively quick, and not knowing that it's like a huge. It's like the story of carrying the boulder up the hill, and then like it's a really slow burn on in terms of like, unless you are some amazing pianist or you have some innate insane skill that the world
Right,
wants to
right, right.
see. Like, if you're just hopping on the board, I want to make content, provide people some entertainment. Of course, consistency and rhythm is like 100% the most biggest thing, because people will upload a video, they'll tell their friends and family to watch it. They will watch it, the friends and family, and then maybe on second run, third run, the friends and family aren't watching it so much, and the views start to go down a bit, and they're like, "Damn, this isn't working," So I'm gonna, just stop. So you have to really be creative in the way that you're just constantly revolutionizing and bringing in new content, but at the same time, staying consistent, because humans, people are rhythmic. We work in rhythm. We work in habits. We work in every day when I wake up, I know I'm going to watch this. I'm going to listen to this podcast. I'm going to check this out. So if you are there every day, and they know they can, after work, they're going to be ready to watch, Micah and the podcast, and they're going to be stoked on it, then that's like a huge thing. But at the same time, keeping things fresh and staying new is really hard. There's so much out there, right? But you know,
Yeah.
not too many of what you're doing. So I found you guys for a reason. So keeping it up and not, you know, letting things slip by of, oh damn, I have this thing on Thursday, so maybe we'll film the week after. It's like, damn, like can't really be affording to do that anymore.
Right. Right.
So yeah, especially with like TikTok is like a huge thing. Are you guys on TikTok? Is the podcast clips on TikTok?
Yeah,
I believe they are. Yeah.
we need to be way better about getting podcasts. We are on TikTok. A lot of our other content goes onto there, and that's grown the most this year. Obviously, I mean that's like the platform, but that's grown. We just hit I think 32,000 followers, which is yeah.
Dang. Okay.
So
Okay.
we're slowly building up.
Yeah.
But always the summer for us, when we're together and we're playing in events and we're just shooting like tons of content, for us is kind of like those are the big months for us, and that's when we see the most amount of growth because we're also in person. Like the thing about being overseas too is like people just kind of see us on screen and stuff, but when we're actually on the road and we do a tour every summer like you guys got going on. And we're in front of people. They see all of our camera crew, videographers, or photographers, and they're like, okay, well, they're asking questions, and then they go watch. They send it to their friends, and that's building the community at the events while also building our kind of digital platforms too is super big. So, like you said, yeah, the consistency is huge.
Yeah. And like you're saying, the relatability, like people love volleyball, man. A lot of people play volleyball. A lot more people play volleyball than people think, or like that the sport gets credit for.
For sure.
So like I remember I posted, I was like, yo, Kofi and Schwan, I don't know if you know Schwan as well, but they were in training at the center. And I'm like, yo, let me film a volleyball trick shots video. Like, let me just do this. Let me put this out there. I hadn't done one yet. And man, the video like blew up. Like I think that video has like over 2 million views on YouTube, which is like for YouTube, that's like it's tougher to get the mills compared to TikTok because people got to click. They don't just scroll and
Yeah.
watch it for 15 seconds. They got to click that thing and then watch it for like, you know, it's a 20-minute video. So like that just made me realize like, damn, like volleyball content is under, like, you know, if you look at basketball content, you look at soccer content, there's a lot of that, but there's
So
not much volleyball content out there in terms of like that dude perfect style, people playing,
for sure.
trick shotting. It's not really, you know, it's not really as shown.
Yeah, it's empty space. I think Joe, we were putting together this like little presentation, but Joe, do you remember exactly the amount of people that play? I know you did some research.
900 million people. 900 million
That's
in the
absurd.
world.
That's
Yeah.
absurd.
Yeah,
So like
it's a
1 in
crazy
8,
amount.
1 in 9 people have played volleyball pretty consistently. Like that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
No, it is ridiculous, and there's such a vacuum of media. Like you said, other sports have so much, and ours just doesn't. And like, I just think of myself as a kid. It would be so sick to go on YouTube and watch like volleyball content.
Yeah,
It's just impossible, and like also it doesn't help that all the professionals are overseas, and so
exactly.
that's a whole
like,
other barrier of like being able to see people that are actually doing things at a high level. So we're definitely trying to change that, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, with a lot of direction, but like you said, super cool. Yeah, the content side of things. I was checking out your channel too. So today, in the past week, so it's been interesting. It's always cool to like just talk to other people who are in the space, especially people who are so far ahead like yourself. I always talk about people ask me like questions because there's a lot of people who just don't understand like the content, the media space. And you think of a company like Barstool, always people are like Barstool. That's kind of like the model for any type of media company. It's like that they took them like 20 years to get to the point where they're at right now. So it's
Yeah.
like this just slow grind.
Yeah, the difference between a lot of people is just like, you know, like especially like with myself, I just never like really gave up, you know, like I started on YouTube in 2012 was when I uploaded my first video. It's 10 years ago. And for 4 years straight, you know, we're getting, you know, a video might hit 5,000 views if you're lucky, 1,000 views. And then, you know, just out of nowhere, like with the consistency and the algorithm hitting in 2016, 4 years later, I was finally able to make it like a full-time job. So like, you know, like going off your
So
point,
cool.
it's
So
not an
cool.
overnight really not an overnight thing. And there's
Yeah.
going to be those lows, man. You're going to be like, damn, should I even be doing this? Like, is this even worth it? Like, I had 3 jobs, like balancing, just trying to do this YouTube thing, and then just can't give up.
Yeah.
Jad, is there anything last minute that you want to throw in?
Yeah. So guys, check out our website, boardballsport.com, where you guys can, check out a product. We're also on Instagram, boardballsport. So follow us up, man, and expect to see a lot of boardball stuff in the future.
Sick,
So
Jad.
cool,
Thanks for hopping on. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
Thank you,
sir.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Appreciate
And
you
good
guys,
luck
man.
with
Out of
boardball.
the system. Let's go.
Yee!
Out of the system, baby.
Let's go, man. See you guys later.
You can handle the heat. Yeah. You can handle the heat. All right, so that was Jad. Super cool guy, as you guys can tell from the interview. Super cool product. Hoping that thing can take off. It sounds like it has a lot of potential and might be my favorite version of like an off volleyball brand game, but I'm not sure. I haven't played it yet.
From watching videos of it compared to other stuff, it's my favorite so far too. I really
Correct.
I've
I
never played
agree.
it.
From watching it, I think the same.
Yeah, I think.
Sorry, I cut you off.
I think it make for a lot of fun. And us living in LA this summer too. I mean, you not so much maybe, but yeah, we'll be living out of Hermosa Beach this summer, being right there on the beach. Maybe we're gonna be talking to them about doing some stuff. We'll see what's in the future for out of system and board ball. But
Yeah.
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of him. I'm a big fan of him, Chad with a J, Jad, and I'm a big fan of board ball. So really grateful for him coming on. Like I said, he's one of the OG YouTube guys, so that's super cool. The fact that, yeah, like he said, he reached out to us. That's always super cool to see. I don't know how he came across it or anything, but
Dude, that's like probably the first person to reach out and want to be on our podcast.
and the CrossNet CEO, he reached out. To us too.
He reached out.
We have a lot of people reach out to us, but we do one episode a week. We do one episode.
Yeah, that
a
makes
week,
sense.
though.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
And so we're like, I don't know. It's not that we don't want to have everybody on, but in the future, as we grow, maybe we expand on stuff. We turn this into a live show. Eventually, it would be super cool.
But we have been consistent. That's something that we can kind of pride ourselves on.
Every single.
I know it is once a week.
Yeah,
but we get one out a week every week
at the same time. Except when Gage last week posted the audio from Dustin's.
No, he did not.
On Spotify, we were getting a bunch of people writing in like, it's the same audio. I'm like, Gage, but that's the biggest Gage move ever.
Well, also to be like, we don't do the greatest job because actually thinking back on it, it's usually like 2 of us or like one of us sometimes or 2. We could be a little bit better at getting all 3 of us on. That could probably be where we improve the most. And some research going into what the topics we're talking about.
The issue is Gage is in charge of the podcast and everything. And so I tell him, like, send out a schedule before like weeks, and then we can like book times, and then we can book out guests a little bit earlier.
That is, I guess we can partly say it's on Gage, but we could also say that that's our overseas scheduling as well.
100%.
Like I just got what time.
I'm just saying it's Gage
tomorrow.
to oversee it. At the end of the day, Gage is the one technically job title wise. That's his.
Would you rather have Gage or me oversee it?
Probably Gage.
Yeah, there you go. So there we go. We got our second best guy on the job. But as we're getting off topic because I did have something that I needed to talk about. I told you.
Okay. Yes.
So I really had to get this off my chest. I almost shot like an Instagram story about this because I was so mad. But basically, I just watched Zana play in Brazil. They unfortunately lost in the third set. I think it was 17-15 or 18-16 maybe in deuces. Had a tough tape serve ace that happened in deuces, and then had a call where we had gotten a block and the ball clearly landed in. The line's been called in immediately, and the up ref called out and would not look at the ball mark, even though it was like right there. And it was like, we had all rewatched it. We just rewinded it, and it was like very clearly in. And it made me pretty frustrated because refs, and we talked about this, we had a ref on, and we talked about this with her. But I still don't think that I still have some things I need to talk about. And that is that refs oftentimes don't show enough respect for the importance of the moment. And what I mean by that is like, it's win or go home in Brazil. And these athletes traveled from the US to Brazil on their own dime. It's not easy. And like, it's a very stressful situation. And for you to not have enough, I guess, what's the word that I'm looking for? Humility? It might be humility.
Humility, or to be able to be
Put your ego aside.
Yeah, exactly.
And make sure that the call is right. Like, this is not about you. And a lot of people also judge athletes in the NBA or the NFL or in any way based off their reaction. And I think to share some perspective to the people that aren't athletes, let's say, for example, LeBron James puts, I think it was like a 1.5 million into his body a year.
Yeah.
So, like, say your name's Noah and you're watching this podcast. If your name's Noah and you paid $1.5 million a year on your body, and you also missed your kids' recitals, you missed all their games, you're on the road for 41 games in a row, you fly around the world, you've been training since you were a little boy every day, you trained 4 hours a day sometimes, you lift twice a day, you wake up at 5 every morning, you do ice baths, you stretch, you eat the right meals. You do this not 5 days a week, but 24/7 for 19 years. And LeBron's done it in the NBA and done it before. His mom has driven him to tournaments since he was 5. This might be overboard to some people, but for me it's not, because it's more than a game for us. And then you're in a finals, and your legacy's on the line, and your career's on the line, and everything you've ever done in your life has been put you in this position, and you get fouled and you believe the call's wrong, and a ref's not even willing to listen to you. They treat you like, hey, no, I saw it. It's like this. And I say, hey, that ball's on the line. Can you please just make sure that the call is right and go check it?
Yeah.
Like, we have the ability now. It's not freaking 1940s. Like, we have the ability now to get calls right. Why aren't we using it? Like, we have the ability to make sure that this ball was not on the line. Put your ego aside. Listen, like, show some respect for people that this is our life. Like, we've said this before. Me and Joe are away from our families 8 months a year. I got a girlfriend I do long distance with. I got a sister with 2 young kids that I miss a lot. I've got family and friends that I don't see for years. I haven't been in Hawaii for 2 weeks at a time in 7 years. Joe, the same. Everyone the same that's living over here that's an American, or whatever your case is, you've made a lot of sacrifices to be here. And then you react in a way and people are like, oh, why is he being such a baby? Or, oh, it's not that big of a deal. And it's like, you haven't lived the last 25 years of my life that I've lived. Like, I don't mean to like make this like, or what is the word? Dramatize or something like that. I don't mean to make
dramatize
this big. Dramatize. I'm not trying to dramatize the situation, but in a lot of cases, it's pretty frustrating. One, for refs who just showed up and decided to ref this game and then just do with it what they want and leave, and they don't pay the consequences for this at all. And you just booked your flights and flew for 40 hours, and then it's like up to this guy, and he's not going to check the line.
Yeah.
And he's like, yep, nope, I saw this. That's it. I saw it. And it's like, my brother, it's not about you. Just go look at the ball market's right there.
Yeah.
Just take your time. You can't take 5 seconds. I took 40 hours to fly here. You can't take 5 seconds to check this ball mark. This is a rant, and I want it to be a rant because it's super frustrating, and it hits not even so heavily for me, but I think just the athlete community and me seeing it with my girlfriend obviously hits home. I'm sure it's hit home for you at times, Joe. And like, it's worse for me when I see it happen to loved ones than it happens to myself. I can get over it. But when I see it happen to like a sister or a girlfriend or a really close friend, and I'm just like, I know what these people have put into this, and they deserve more than you just to decide that because you saw it. The guy hit it 75 miles per hour. Don't tell me you're 100% sure.
Yeah.
Because we challenged 3 balls already this game, and you were wrong on 3 of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, now that there's a challenge system, we see you're wrong a lot.
Yeah.
So now you can't sit up there on your high horse and think that you've got the eagle eye.
Yeah.
Because we've proven you wrong countless times now. So be diligent and like show respect to the people that have dedicated their lives to this and get the call right.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to get the call right, if you're not able to make the call right every time, don't hit us with this like almost this disrespect of like you're a peasant in a way. Or like, no, don't speak to me. Don't speak to me. It's like, bro, like this is a lot for us.
Yeah.
That was a rant. Like I said, I want it to be a rant. I want people to understand it. If you're a ref, please take this seriously. Like, because I think you earn a lot of respect if you at least can hear people out and stop this like, nope, I'm not going to listen to anybody. This is the call. Because I get it. It's a defense mechanism and I get your position is hard. But if you have the ability to get a call right, take the time and get it right. Like when people take 10 minutes and the crowd is booing, I get it. But at the same time, I appreciate that you're taking this seriously.
Yeah.
Because we take it very seriously. We're up every day training. We're up every morning, like doing what we need to do for this moment. And now that it's here, I'll wait 10 minutes for this to be right. Like,
Yeah.
that's a small period of my life compared to how much of my life has been dedicated for this. So that was super frustrating to watch. And like, I feel for her. I feel for everyone that's in this position. I feel for athletes that can react in a certain way. I know JJ Redick had on his podcast, he just talked about the Timberwolves celebrating and he got heated about it too, because people were like, wow, like great job. You made the playoffs. And it's like, no. Like this matters.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like you don't know how much work these guys in the NBA put in. Like they have every right to like celebrate their wins and like feel emotion when something happens that they've worked so hard for. There is the Kobe aspect where he's like, job's not done. I'm not going to like, and that is 100% a thing as well. Like, I don't think you should prematurely celebrate, but I do think people need to gain this perspective. I'm not going to rationalize people going out and putting their hands on refs or any of those kinds of things. I'm not here to justify those, but I am here to share perspective of what we go through and why I don't think it's fair to judge athletes off of showing emotion in hot situations that matter a lot to them when you don't understand how much this can mean to people. And if you have a normal job, not a normal job, but if you go to work a 9 to 5-ish job, just put yourself in a position where you woke up at 7 every morning of your entire life and worked for something, and you're living in a different country and you haven't seen family or friends. You live alone in COVID.
Yeah.
And then all of this you're doing to try and be the best volleyball player you can be. You put a lot of work into it, and then you're there and somebody's like, no, somebody that like wasn't there with you in the gym, wasn't there. The refs aren't in there. I've go to 24-hour fitness. I've never seen a ref in there at 5 a.m. working out to be the best ref they can be. I've never seen them watching film as much as an NBA player, an NFL player, a volleyball player. So don't tell me that this is as important it is for them as it is for you, because it's not. And I forget where I was at in this, but the normal person can't understand that feeling of like, no, this is like wrong.
Yeah.
You're being
Yeah.
and it's not to compare this with like the judicial system where you're getting wrongfully convicted, because that's a whole nother thing. But like just to shed light on the perspective that they should be having when you watch professional sports, and then maybe you won't start criticizing people for showing emotion in times where they feel like they thought one thing and someone else thought another, and they think that it should be their way. I feel like more people, if they were put in that situation, would handle it the same or worse.
One thing, it's so tough to judge people off like a certain moment in their life, or so like when you judge somebody off that moment, because you really don't know like how everything led up to that point, like what got him to that point. And the other thing is, I had two complete opposite experiences, exactly the same kind of situation you were just talking about this season. One was a positive one, probably the first time I've ever had in Germany. The German refs are really they're pieces of work. They don't like to converse. They don't like to ask ref. But there's one ref. I went up and I was like, please ask the down ref. There's a play. I forgot what it was. It was right in front of the down ref, and it was so clear. Even the other team knew it. And I'm like, I was begging, please. And he was like, no. And then like the third time, he's like, okay. He calls the down ref over. The down ref tells him it's clearly this, whatever it was. I don't remember what it was. And he overturned the call. I'm like, thank you. Like that's just it. Just and the other
Man,
team,
and
the other
that's-
team wasn't complaining because they knew it.
And that is so frustrating because
Yeah.
you have help. Like in Zana's, oh, I apologize for the listeners. I just dropped my mic. In Zana's case, the linesman had immediately gone in, and the up ref never even looked. And it's like, why do you have that guy there? Like he's only focused on the line. You know that, right? Like, yeah, I don't know what you're watching, but this guy's job is only the line. Ask your people that you have there. They're paying them to be there for a reason. Ask for help, man.
Yeah.
Freaking ego gets in the way of you getting the job done right. And this is getting in the way of people that sacrifice a lot to be here. And you're so selfish that you're just going to say, yes, no, I'm not going to ask for help. It's ridiculous.
Dude, but at the same time, we had.
Sorry, continue your story.
But for me, I had the exact opposite too. Is like the refs in the cup final, they had their big server on the line. We were up by a large part in the fourth set to push it to a fifth, and we had all the momentum going. And their server just goes on a run, a couple aces, a couple just really dumb plays, and then we hit an out of system ball off serve receive, and the net just comes down, and it was like a little delayed though, and we challenged like right after the play. And it was clear, like they knew it too. Like they were like, oh frick. They were going back to serve receive. The ref comes back like it took him like 4 or 5 minutes to look at this play. Oh no, it wasn't in the middle of the blocking action. And everybody in the stands like,
Wow.
What? It doesn't matter. He hit the net. There's no rule that, as far as I know, that says it has to be in a certain action. And it was a huge, because they went on another 3-4 points.
Dude, oh man. And that's another thing that like frustrates me is they don't understand the impact that it can have. Like, and that's not always on them because the timing is not always going to be perfect, but
yeah,
there's balls where I'm like, you don't understand that like that's their best server.
Yeah.
We side him out on the first play and you miss something. And then he rips off 3 aces. And it's always the case. Like when a ref blows a call and you're like, what? You're going to call that? And then boom, the other team's going to get like a tape ace.
Yeah.
And you're always just like, it's always the case. It's always a tape ace after. And you're like, this is your point. Like this guy's not serving if you didn't call this lift or out of nowhere. So refs, do better. I understand your job is difficult, but I'm not saying do better in a sense where you need to call certain calls, but do better in showing respect to the players and do better in showing respect to getting the call right over you protecting your ego.
Absolutely.
So ridiculous, man.
It's
Freaking
tough.
so ridiculous.
And
Anyways, that is the outro. Our intro, I kind of had messed up. Me and Joe were going to do an intro after because we were running a little late.
you can't double
But I did the Booyakasha, and then it just felt wrong doing another Booyakasha for an intro and then having one on when the guest comes. So we're closing it out here. Joe, thanks for being on.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, big shout out Dr. Price's Electrolytes. There's a new code though. It's out of system, all lowercase, all the way across. Use that down below, all the information.
Ooh, new code alert.
No more 20. Amazon apparently changed something to do with their algorithm or something. So it's just out of system. You get 20% off still on the electrolytes. Again, go freaking try. A bunch of pro athletes are starting to use them now that are reaching out and are loving them. And so we heavily recommend them. Big shout out Dr. Price's Electrolytes. They're huge.
Yeah, I've been hammering them.
They're a huge part of like everything that we do, all the events, everything that we're able to do. They've been a huge partner in that. So really appreciate that. Go check that out. You guys know we're announcing the tour this summer. We're going back on tour. Next week's pod is pretty much going to be focused on that. I think in the intro. So we're going to be breaking down all that. What's to go with out of system over the next couple months. And like I was saying, we'll be based out of LA, down Hermosa Beach. Once again, we got a house down there. So we'll be there most of the summer hanging out. So make sure to keep an eye out for us. And as always, go get that merch. We have some really cool stuff coming. There's still stuff on the store. Thank you for everybody who bought the limited exclusive drop. But
Yes, thank you everybody for that.
that's it from Micah and I today. Gage will be on next week for sure. Again, this has been another episode of If You Can't Handle the Heat, presented by Out of System.